X-Men Apocalypse looks like it won't be getting the same extended cut treatment that the last film did. Or you know what, will, I don't know, but they haven't announced it yet. However, considering the rough cut came in at around 2 hours 40, there's a fair bit of stuff that we didn't see, which this video will highlight, as well as alternate looks for Psylocke and Apocalypse, a member of the X-Men becoming a Horseman, an extended role for Wolverine, and more. All of which we'll get into right now. Wait. Spoilers. Okay, right now. Let's start with a sequence that was considered too unimportant and irrelevant to include. An extended 80s montage that takes place with the young X-Men after they leave Return of the Jedi. It includes a visit to a record store and the inclusion of a Dazzler Easter egg. Dazzler was actually rumored to be played by Taylor Swift, but that turned out not to be the case. Anyways, Jubilee is also seen using her sparkly powers, and Nightcrawler joins a group of breakdancing teens and also gives himself a brain freeze, which is actually something that we've got footage of.
Something's wrong.
Brain freeze.
What? I froze my brain?
Now, there's been a fair bit of concept art released for X-Men Apocalypse. Most of these sequences seem to have ended up in the final film, but this is an interesting one. Now, I'm not sure who this figure is. Some have speculated Wolverine, but I think this is an early Apocalypse, and this is the ship, as others have suggested. A mobile base of operations for Apocalypse and his horsemen. But speaking of early versions of Apocalypse, Ironhead Studios, who ended up doing some of the costume designs in the film, and have also done a bunch of other comic book movies, were very interested in creating the look of the main villain. Now, they lost out on that gig, but decided to create a mock-up regardless, based off an actual Oscar Isaac sculpt. Personally, I think it's much better, but what do I know? Nothing much of anything about anything. Follow me on Twitter. Let's get back to the deleted scenes for a moment. Bryan Singer detailed in an interview a sequence with Magneto so touching that it brought him to tears, but it didn't work in the context of the movie, so it had to go. Another moment he talks about was a final scene between Cyclops and Havoc before one goes to the mall and the other goes to meet with Moira McTaggart, and also before he destroys the X-Mansion like an idiot. Also, cut your hair, Havoc. It's not even 80s era appropriate. You could at least feather it up a bit. There's one more moment that we know of that had to be cut for obvious reasons. I'll let America's current sweetheart, Jennifer Lawrence, explain. I say current because, you know, everything and everyone has an expiry date in terms of popularity. This YouTube channel, using the abbreviation ROFL. You can actually observe Mickey Rourke in the middle of his right now. Anyways, let's go.
Came in, so I was like, we should improv something, you know, before he comes in. And Nick was like, okay. And then Bryan calls action, and Nick goes, you know, the thing is, the students, they're really sexy.
Before Psylocke came on board as a villain, Professor X was actually going to be the fourth horseman, but they weren't really sure how that would have worked. Also, how does he get on the horse? I guess that you'd probably make his legs work. Wait a minute, none of these horsemen have horses. Why has nobody pointed this out yet? Why am I only figuring this out? I'm supposed to be good at this. Anyways, he was switched out for Psylocke. Now, the original plan was to give her the standard Bryan Singer black costume, with colour to be included down the road if they had time for it. Mun, though, she fought for it and got it. This is it. You've seen it. She bloody flips and cuts that car. That's pretty good. Lastly, Wolverine's involvement went through a number of iterations, and at one point was to consist of a much larger part. He was to make an appearance halfway through the film and take on a kind of mentor drill sergeant kind of role, training the new X-Men.
Class dismissed.
It was apparently, though, thought in doing so, he'd be stepping on the role of Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique, so he was regulated to the Weapon X sequence that we ended up getting. Which might be for the better. I don't know. Did you want to see more Wolverine? In fact, would you have liked it if any of these ideas mentioned would have shown up in the film? Or even an idea that you've got of your own? Maybe a moment of self-reflection from Havoc after he destroyed the mansion, nearly killing everybody. Or even from Beast for leaving the hatch open on a super combustible plane engine. Isn't he supposed to be some kind of man of science / beast of science? What are you doing? Get your shit together. Okay, if you're keen, last Monday on my podcast, The Weekly Planet, we broke down X-Men Apocalypse, the good, the bad, all of it. And this Monday, we're doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. That's what they called it that, didn't they? Very interested to see how that one turns out. So tune in. Come along. You don't have to, but, you know, if you want, it's fine. It's links below. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.